because I don't do much besides skateboard, I'm generally there like every day. And you have like the people who are there basically every day, and they're a certain ilk. And then you just have these people where, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but like you see them and you're like, oh, okay, I probably won't see you again. Like,
what's up, guys? This is Frame This Podcast. My name's Nate, and I'm here with my co-host Phil.
I'm Phil. Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Joined today by Alana Joy from Ithaca, New York.
Hi.
I have seen a couple of her skate videos. She's a skater from up in New York, and we're here to talk about the art of skateboarding and why it should be considered an art form. So, Alana, would you mind introducing yourself to those who might not know you and explain a little bit more about what it is you do?
Sure. Thanks. I'm Alana. I pretty much my whole personality is skateboarding, so this is appropriate. So I live in Ithaca now. I lived here for about 11 months. I moved in the beginning of the year, but I'm originally from outside the Philadelphia area. And I lived in the DC area for about 6 or 7 years. So I have skated in and around all three of those cities. And happy to be here and excited to talk.
Yeah,
we're excited because we want to we want to shred the Gnar.
I tried an ollie maybe like twice in middle school, and it just wasn't happening.
Honestly, same. Fun story. I also got a skateboard when it got really popular back in the early thousands, and tried an ollie twice and was like, never mind, I'm not doing this anymore, and didn't pick it back up until I was like 26. So there's still hope.
Circle button.
Holy shit. Well,
I'm almost 30, so and I don't think my knees have much cartilage left. So I don't know if skateboarding is really in my cards. My friend had a really dope 2-step Porsche that I tried to drop off of, and it just didn't.
Listen, there's old people skating, which is what I do. It's just transition skating. There's a lot less impact on the knees.
So
could you define that for us?
Yeah.
By transition skating.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so there's kind of 3 main types of skateboarding. There's Tony Hawk skateboarding, which is called vert.
Woo!
That's where you're on a ramp that is literally has vertical feet to it. So, there's a transition, which is basically, the radius between the, it's curved, right?
Get nerdy, man. Start throwing in geometry. We're cool with that.
I'm gonna. And then at the top of a vert ramp,
there's a concave curve that goes perpendicular to the floor, and the hypotenuse can be calculated by the radius squared by the vertical drop.
I mean, you guys don't even need me.
Nate, let her finish.
And so at the top of a vert ramp, there's a foot, 6 inches, 2 feet of vertical wall. So it's like that. And that's when you get the big airs and the flip, Mick twists and all the crazy stuff that goes on there, inverts. Then there's street skating, which is what you see, when kids are out there ollieing and kick flipping down stair sets or over, grinding rails, ledges, things like that. When you see those little metal, I don't even know how to describe them. There's little metal pieces on benches and rails and stuff. Those are called skate stoppers, and those are supposed to keep the kids off of the beautiful scenery in the cities. So
no shit.
I thought they were for homeless people to keep homeless people from sleeping on the
same thing.
No, okay.
just as menacing to society, I'm sure. So there's that. And then sort of in between that, there's transition skating. And transition skating is what you like when you think of people skating backyard pools and skating bowls and things like that, which is primarily what I do. Grinding the top of bowls and carving around, things like that. So mini ramps, which is a mini ramp is a half pipe that doesn't have vert. So you can have a 7-foot mini ramp. It's still a mini ramp. So that's more or less what I do. It's a lot of pumping, which is squats, basically, to get around the bowl.
Nate knows all about squats.
I don't want to talk about it.
But there's like a lot less like, direct impact from like, you're up in the air and then you're like on the ground and you're squeezing your knee cartilage. So it's sort of it's good if you're a little older like us and you can't really take the impact to the heels anymore.
So it doesn't matter how much of a vert there is, as long as there's any just straight up and down section of tread, it's considered a vert.
Yeah, it's considered a vert ramp. But like the thing, like, I mean, there's bowls that have vert in them, and I've skated them before. Like I've, dropped in on vert, I've grinded vert. Like it's, you can skate transition and still like skate things that have vert. And, but then there's like vert skating is like its own separate beast. Like these big vert ramps that like, people do like crazy tricks on. Like that's a different beast. And this is not to say that like people just choose one and go with it. There's a lot of people I know and like, a lot of famous skaters and stuff who are kind of all terrain or multi-use, artists. But generally people kind of lean toward one or the other or the third. But certainly you can do all three or a combination.
All I'm picturing right now is like the Warriors, the movie The Warriors, and like all you guys, different skateboarders just coming around and having like different colors. Be like,
yeah, we actually, it's more like West Side Story. We like snap at each other, like when we're walking toward each other. And like, if you're like a street skater and you're in my bowl, like I'll punch you out. So
yes.
Yeah. Be careful.
Or like the Anchorman newscaster wars.
Yeah.
Where they're coming at you with like wooden stools and like, didn't Steve Carell have like a pitchfork?
Hit a trident.
a trident. Yes.
Brick, where'd you get that trident? What about longboarders? Do you guys shit on longboarders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing though. It like kind of depends on where you like skate and where you're from. So like I'm from Philadelphia and like I didn't start skating until I moved to DC. But like I lived in Philly in the interim for like a couple of months. But all my friends, are from Philly, and Philly is an interesting beast, but traditionally, like in the more like bigger cities and stuff, there's a lot of shitting on anything that's not skateboards, like especially scooters for sure, but like longboards, bikes, anything that's not a skateboard is like not okay. But like in a place like Ithaca where the community is small, tight knit, everybody's really nice. I mean, scooters still suck. Everyone just hates scooters no matter what. But like generally, like if people come into our park with a longboard, we're just like, I like hope they don't get in the way. But like if you come into like FDR skate park in Philly with a longboard, like you will have like glass bottles thrown at you and you're told to leave. So it depends on the community.
Philadelphia's rough.
That's something
I was going to say.
That's something
I love ECW. Wrestling reference. Fuck, I'm done.
Ding!
Yep.
Phil has made his wrestling reference for the episode.
That was it.
We got it out of the way.
How does like geography play in different skate communities? Like even in music, like the scene is different from state to state, and even within states, like from cities to cities. Like how does that impact the way you skate or the people you associate with, like when encountering, like other skaters from other communities? Like how does that mesh?
That's a great question. So the first thing I'll say is that skateboarding is crazy. There's sort of like a 6 degree of separation from like every person who like legitimately skates. So I've been like all up and down the East Coast, and every time I like meet someone, whether it's in like Tampa, Florida or Augusta, Maine, like they know someone that I know, or like I know them. So it's a very tight community because people travel all over the place and stuff. But having said that, it's definitely geographically determining. So East Coast skateboarding is definitely different from West Coast skateboarding. West Coast skateboarding, there's a lot of like backyard pools in California. And
Lord's a dog town.
What's that?
I said Lord's a dog town.
Lord's a dog town, exactly. And they have like sort of their own style. And then like East Coast skateboarding is a little grittier, you know, it's like, not to say that like people don't skate more like street stuff out on the West Coast, but certainly it's a different scene. There's like a lot more sort of like going out and barging, like whatever, you know, things that like spots, right? Skate spots that you find that it might be skatable. But it's also cool. Like no matter where you go, like you can just show up to a park and be like, hey, I'm from blah, blah, blah. Like, nice to meet you. And they're like, cool. All right. Sounds good. Like if you skate, then you're like part of the community.
Have you ever had like a really big culture shock when encountering like a different skate community?
Yeah, Ithaca. So I started skating in DC and I did not know how spoiled I was. DC's tiny, as you know. And like even the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, like is a small area, but it's just chock full of skate parks or bowls or whatever. You like so many people have like backyard ramps, backyard bowls. It's really great. Like when I lived there every weekend, like I would park hop like on a given day, maybe like 3 or 4 parks. Here in Ithaca, there's one park, and the community out in DC is huge as well. So you could park hop 3 or 4 parks and see different people throughout the entire day, and it'd be packed. But here in Ithaca, there's one skate park, and it's a college town. Cornell is here, so a lot of the communities are like transient. And a lot of the skaters are like, oh, I just moved here. I'm like 19 years old and I wanted to learn to skateboard. So it's a very different community. Because I don't do much besides skateboard, I'm generally there like every day. And you have like the people who are there basically every day. And they're a certain ilk. And then you just have these people where, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but like you see them and you're like, oh, okay, I probably won't see you again. Like... So yeah, definitely a big culture shock up here. The other thing is like, it's very cold. Like it's already very cold up here. It's going to be in the 20s tonight. And it's going to start snowing in a couple weeks and then the park will be snowed out and people just don't skate. There's like a couple of indoor parks up north. There's one in Rochester. There's one in Syracuse, which isn't too far away, but there's none here. So like people just hibernate over the winter up here.
You work on your core and your hammies.
Yeah. Lots of squats.
Squats. Maintenance like about that. Yep. That's what my trainer taught me to do. My 4 foot 8 Muay Thai trainer.
Do you have what, Phil?
Nothing. No, I was going to talk about, so you were younger and you tried to do an ollie. You said, fuck it, not doing this again. What made you pick this back up?
That's a great question. You know, it's actually worse than just doing an ollie. So yeah, that happened. And then in high school, when I was a freshman, like one of my first days, I met this dude that ended up becoming my best friend. And God, like 15 years later, he's still my best friend. And he's been skating for as long as I've known him. And me and my friends used to go to the skate park, like every day and just watch the boys skate and like smoke cigarettes and like talk, like gossip and shit. Yeah. And we just like, it never occurred to me to like pick up a board and ride it. And I'm like, biggest regret of my life. Well, it's up there, but yeah. So yeah, wasn't interested, whatever. And then, I still don't really know like what happened. It was kind of a fever dream. I went on vacation with my partner at the time to Vermont, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. And we were, you know, we visited Stowe, we went to all like the ski areas and loved it, and came back and like just randomly started watching skiing videos. We ran out of those and started watching snowboard videos. We ran out of those and started watching skateboard videos, and like something clicked in my lizard brain. And I was like, yo, that looks like so much fun. But literally my response was, I think one day I want to be a skate mom, like a soccer mom, you know, but instead I would just drive my children around to the skate park. And I was like, great, I'll just wait until I have children and I'll do it. And I got it really impatient and I like wouldn't shut up about it. And eventually he bought me a skateboard like as an early birthday present. And I was like, well, I guess I'll try this. And like day one, couldn't even ride the board, but like was absolutely hooked on it, and went back like every day basically since.
Hell yeah.
How often do you go through a board?
Ooh, that's a really interesting question because
what's the turnover on your decks?
My skateboarding career has been a little strange. So like for the first year, I would say I pretty much just like rolled around a lot, got very drunk, and like mostly like saw skateboarding as like a social activity.
Man, getting drunk and rolling around. That sounds like one of my weekends. One time on Nate's floor, but that's another story.
Different story. We'll listen to that one after. So yeah, like it wasn't that probably that last. That's actually that board right there on my wall was my first skateboard deck ever. It was a size 775, which if anybody who skateboards is listening to this, that is tiny. But I was none the wiser, and that probably lasted me a year. And then in the intermittent, like 3 years after that, I would probably go through a board like every 6 months. And then in like late February, early March of this year, I quit drinking and decided to just transfer all of my addictive energy to skateboarding. And that like completely changed my skateboarding. So not only like do I skate every day, but I like skate. Like I'm not just hanging out. Like I hardly ever like take a break to sit down and drink a fake beer and smoke a cigarette. Like I'm out there like going through boards. So now I've been going through, let's see, how many boards have I had this year? 1, 2, 3. I'm on my 4th board of the year. So I would say like every 3 months.
Holy shit.
Is that a lot? Or
I don't know. I have a friend who goes through like a board a month. But then, you know, some people like don't do things that like would compromise the integrity of their board. So it's totally dependent. I mean, and also like I invest, like sink all my money into skateboarding. So whereas someone might still ride their board at the level that mine's at, like I'm going to get a new board.
That's what I was going to say, like ballpark for a nice, you know, deck, board, wheels, trucks. I think I'm saying all the things right. It's been a while. It's been a while since I got out my tech deck and went, wee. I need to bring it to work because fuck work. Tech deck. Yeah. How much, like ballpark, how much for like a nice package?
So you're talking about a complete, as we say in the biz.
Oh,
a complete, which would be, yeah. So deck, grip tape, trucks, hardware, bushings, wheels, and bearings, like you're looking at like 150, but that's not how it, like trucks will last you years depending on like how much you grind and stuff.
Okay.
Bearings will last you a year to years depending on the quality of the bearings. Wheels last a while, 6 months to a year, depending on how long you're willing to skate them because they get smaller over time. So basically, like when I replace stuff, I'm really only like replacing the deck unless I need something new. And decks generally run like $50 to $60.
Okay. And so do you do all the maintenance yourself or do you have a person?
I do all the maintenance myself and it's like a labor of love. So whenever like, and it's fun to troubleshoot. So whenever like my wheels aren't spinning fast enough, I'm like, oh, this must be the bearings. And there's this stuff called speed cream, which is, I don't know, some sort of oil. I know. It's some sort of oil that bones, which is like an
oil that bones?
Yeah, they call it speed cream. Bones makes bearings and they created this formula. So when your bearings get rusty, you kind of just put it in there.
Nate, I missed your birthday present. There you go.
Speed cream.
Speed cream
by Bones.
Sounds like cocaine for your skateboard wheels.
Yeah, more or less. It's like a little shower, but without getting them rusty.
Interesting.
Just lubes them up.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember when I longboarded as a form of transportation for a couple of years.
Boo!
And my
boo! Yeah, boo!
I didn't even like attempt to do tricks. It was literally like, I liked it better than biking. I felt like it was better exercise.
Absolutely.
And so my wheels were like 76 mils. And I could go over train tracks with them.
I bet.
It was the best thing in the world.
He needed to in Harrisonburg. He needed to.
Oh, yeah, you lived in Harrisonburg.
Yeah, that's where we met. So I grew up in Harrisonburg.
Is it true that there really is a cat food factory there?
Dog food or cat food? Yeah.
Yes.
It's so funny. I didn't know that. I have a friend who lived in Harrisonburg. And the first time I went there, I was like, why the fuck does it smell like dog food? And like cat food. And I like didn't say anything to her for like months. And then one day she was like, oh yeah, there's a dog food factory there. And I was like, I thought it was crazy. The whole town smells like dog food.
Especially when it rains. After it rains, it just smells like straight dog food. So when I used to come out of the music building, that's all I smelled. It was real fun.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Wow. What a town.
But yeah, well, just be happy that Nate didn't die longboarding on one of the big hills, because that's what happened my freshman year. Some girl was going down way too fast. I think hit a rock or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, rocks will get you.
There's a couple of really big hills. I remember like skidding both of my palms like pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I had basically like no skin on like the jump stick on both hands for like a month.
Sorry for your loss. That's awful.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't living at home anymore either, so I couldn't get like pampered. So, it was just me, broke post grad, working at restaurants with skinned up hands.
If it makes you feel any better, my brother recently took up skateboarding. So happy for him.
Cheaper why?
Yeah, for real. It's great.
No idea
why. He lives down in Tampa, which I'm so jealous of. I actually went to visit him. We took like a skate trip, but he recently started probably like a year and a half ago, and like 6 months in, tried to drop in on a ramp for the first time and broke both of his wrists. Is a service worker. He's like he works in like in food.
Oh my God.
And lived alone. Yeah. My poor baby. He's my older brother, but still.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, it could be worse.
Oh my God.
That reminds me of something, but I can't think of what. Like someone breaking both their wrists.
So he had to be immobile. Did he like sort of invent a new way to, I guess, prepare food with?
No, he was able to take vacation time. Like, thank goodness for him. Yeah. I mean, I've broken both my wrists, but not at the same time. But like, it's awful having like no access to one of your wrists, like let alone both of them, and have both of them in casts.
Oh, I'd be devastated.
Yeah. If I were him, I would have just come home to my parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Or have one of your friends like live with you for a month.
Yeah, for real.
Can you give me a hand? Yes, a literal hand.
What's the sounds like something from Young Frankenstein.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe.
Very likely. So do you do tricks as a drop-in non-vert skater?
I'm terrible at skateboarding. Yeah, I do tricks. I can't kick flip. So if you see me on the side of the road and you yell, do a kick flip, I'm going to give you the fingers because I can't. I'm not really very good at ollieing. So, there's still hope if you can't ollie. It's not really what I've chosen to focus on my skateboarding. Mostly what I do is grinds. So one of the first things I learned to do was
it's like in Scott Pilgrim where he meets that one dude on set.
Yeah.
And he's like, can you do a thingy on the rail?
Exactly. I basically just do things on rails. Yeah, my primary go-to is grinds. So backside grinds, which means my back is facing coping or the bowl. Do a lot of backside car grinds, do a couple backside slash grinds.
XX circle with your left stick.
Yeah. I was like, what combination is that?
True story. I have never played Tony Hawk Pro Skater or any skateboarding video game. I've actually never played video games in general. So I actually watched people play it at a party the other night. And I was like, why would you do this? Why would you not just go skate? So I have no idea.
Guitar Hero versus, real instruments.
It's an acquired taste, I guess.
I don't know. My mom wouldn't let us have video games as a kid, and I'm actually so
same.
Yeah. Well, and now look how you turned out.
Opposite for Nate.
Yeah.
He needs his game time. He needs his game time, or he's a cranky boy.
No, I totally get it.
I need part time. I'm a cranky boy.
And then recently, I accidentally, I was going up for some sort of grind. I think a 50-50 grind, which is where you're standing up, fully stood up, and you're you move sideways, right? And then you drop back in. Anyway, I went up for that. I fell on my hand, I fell backwards on my hand, right? And I was oh, that's a trick in and of itself. It's called a layback. Totally by accident happened. And I was I'm going to learn laybacks. And then for the past 2 weeks have just learned as many layback tricks as I can. Cause it's a type of trick, or it's it's a type of trick. You can do different variations.
It's a bracket.
Yes, exactly. It's a bracket. You can do different types of layback. So I learned layback rock and rolls, then I learned layback board slides, and then layback hurricanes. And now I'm working on layback 5-0s. So definitely a lot of different tricks that you can do with it. And then just a bunch of really random stuff that I probably couldn't list off the top of my head, but yeah, a couple tricks here and there.
What is you're
so modest.
I've been around a lot of really good skaters, and I'm standing on the shoulders of giants.
She hasn't name dropped anybody yet, though. Not that we would know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I might go.
Well, there's
I don't know. So with skateboarding, if you fuck up, it's pretty obvious. What is your thought process behind, how intuitive are you with knowing where you messed up and how to improve? Do you ever film yourself for the purpose of learning something new, or what is that inner talk? What's that feedback loop like?
Definitely. That's a great question. So yeah, in the past 8 months since I quit drinking, it's so much easier to figure out what you're doing wrong. When you're fully conscious, it's crazy. So yeah, when I've been learning laybacks recently, it's really crazy. It hasn't taken me long to learn the actual tricks, because basically I'll go up for something, feel off, and maybe the first couple times you're I don't know what's going on. But then as you do it more and more, you're okay, now I understand the theory of how to get into this trick. And once you understand the theory, you sort of your brain tells your body okay, so when you get to this, and this is true of all tricks, when you get to this point in the trick, this is where you need to move your shoulder, or this is where you need to move your hip, or this is when you need to take your back foot and shove it out that way, and take your front foot and pull it in this way. And then you'll get into that perfect feeble stall. And so every time you're
putting a lot of faith in your body.
Yeah. And honestly, I've never had a great communication system. It's one of the reasons I really can't do ollies, because it's so many things that your body needs to be doing at the same time. And I'm just it's too much. I'm just going to fall instead. But with certain tricks, it just makes sense. So every time you try the trick again, you tweak that area. You get that part perfect, or as close to perfect as you can. And then you move on to okay, so now I've gotten this part. Now I need to figure out how to get out of it. So which way do I need to turn my shoulder? Or how much do I need to turn my shoulder to get the 270 out, or whatever it is in that case. And then you just work on that. And that's what's worked for me. It's piece by piece, I guess.
So it sounds like skating is not just involving your leg muscles, but your whole body. You have to use all of yourself basically it's you and the board and you're kind of this one being.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually was at the park earlier today, and it's cold up here, as I mentioned. And my one friend came and he was like, I think I need to learn in the like hands in the pockets tricks, and was like trying to do like a kickflip with his hands like in his like, in his pouch. And he was like, this is impossible. And I was thinking about it too, because like I had my hands in my pouch when I first got to the park because it's cold. And I was like skating up a bank and I was like, I got to take my hands out of my pockets. Like I can't, because it's so much of skateboarding is just balancing. So like if you watch someone like do something as simple as an ollie, you'll see their arms start like all the way down at their feet, literally down at their feet. And they kind of spread their wings up like this as they're doing their trick with their feet. But that's all to say that skateboarding, if you ask pretty much any skater, skateboarding is like 10% physical and 90% mental. And it's like, because once your like brain understands like, okay, this is what I need to do, your body like just does it. But there's so much mental shit that goes on with skateboarding, especially because like a lot of it's really scary, which sounds weird, but like a lot of tricks, like, I mean, there's like any good trick is like high risk, high reward, basically. So, going into it, like even something as simple as dropping in, which is not simple, but whatever, like where, you started the deck, the top of the bowl or the top of the ramp or whatever, and you slam down onto, the transition and then to the flat. That, like when you stand up there, I don't know if either of you have ever done that, but like you're standing up there with your board on top of the ramp, you're like, I'm going to die. Like I'll probably die if I don't do this right.
Yep. So that's why I don't do it.
Yeah, but that's why I do it, because it feels good when you don't die.
True.
Haven't died yet.
That is an existential like statement on the inner workings of skateboarding.
Absolutely.
Or just like adrenaline sports in general. It's like, but I didn't die.
Exactly.
And I'm still here.
It always reminds me of Ernest Hemingway and his like obsession with big game hunting. And he would say that like he would go because when you don't get mauled by like a large animal, that's when you feel most alive. And it's true. It's like the first time I ever dropped in, I was like, well, I could die now because I did the thing and I felt great. And like I cheated death by not falling and dying.
What is so like, I know in like the punk rock scene, there's kind of like the crabs boiling water mentality when one of them like gains some sort of commercial success or like starts to get known for their music. Is that the case in skateboarding? Because skateboarding is an Olympic sport now. So like, what's the perception of like skateboarders doing well and getting like sponsorships? Like, how does that affect like the herd mentality?
Sure. Well, I'll say two things. Number one, skateboarding is not a monolithic community. So, I mean, there's a lot of people. There was obviously enough skaters who were stoked about skateboarding being in the Olympics to make it a popular thing. But what I'll also say is that, I guess with the exception of like, a few people, I mean, people skateboard because it's enjoyable, right? But like especially when you start, like when you're younger, you get to a point where everyone wants to get sponsored. Everyone wants to get sponsored. Like nobody's like even people who like aren't actively seeking a sponsor still like would absolutely take a sponsor if they could, because at the bare minimum, like what sponsorship means is that you're not paying for, whatever equipment you need. So, and there's sponsors for everything, wheels, boards, grip tape, whatever. So everyone wants to get sponsored, and there's no like stigma attached to not having to pay for your materials. But like it's in terms of getting famous for it, it's completely dependent on like how you act. The cool thing about skating is like most people who are sponsored, pro, famous, they're still one of my favorite descriptions of skateboarders are sexy alcoholic losers. And that is so accurate. Pretty much all skateboarders who've like gotten famous from skateboarding or who are pro or whatever, they're all still sexy alcoholic losers. Like at the end of the day, they're getting their trick, like slamming their board down when they're angry, smoking weed after, and like, going home and like not showering and waking up at like, 4 p.m. the next day. even the best of the best. There's a couple exceptions. I don't know if you guys have ever heard. I'm going to name drop Najee Houston here. He is like the skateboarder that skateboarders love to hate. He is like this clean cut. He's sort of clean cut. I mean, he has like a bunch of tattoos and whatever, but like, he's just like kind of an asshole. He's just like sort of sold out. And I mean, he's really good at skateboarding, don't get me wrong, but like, he's just not an enjoyable person to watch skateboarding. Because you like know how he is, and he's just like kind of cocky. But in terms of skateboarding in the Olympics, it's definitely the community is very torn about it. I'm not a huge fan of it personally, just because I think like skateboarding is sort of, I don't know if it's a counterculture, but it's a subculture, you know, for people who like generally don't fit into like team sports or organized activities. And it's a very like personal thing. And like, when you don't have anywhere else to go, you can always go to the skate park. If you don't have any friends, at least you know skateboarders. And so like for it to get popular, it just basically means that like all these kids now are going to like come in with their moms, like think that it's like mainstream and okay. And then the people who like had nowhere else to go and who were at the outcast now feel like they can't even fit into their own community. But for it to get popular and for there to be more alternatives or outlets for the kids who didn't know about it before and who don't fit into any other culture, that's great. And I'm super happy for them. And that's like a means of, you know, livelihood for some kids who, you know, came from nothing and would not have any other opportunities. So it's mixed.
Yeah, that is definitely a shotgun approach. Yes, Phil, his hand is raised.
No, I was gonna ask, do you feel skateboarding and I'm trying to think of the word here for
breakdancing.
What kind of sports? Like X Games had its surge, and now it's kind of cooled off. Do you think skateboarding and BMX and all these other, what I call them extreme sports, they're not so much extreme sports.
Yeah,
not so much extreme sports, but like skateboarding, BMX, is it going to make a resurgence here soon?
Oh, we're in the resurgence, but I'll tell you this. When I first started skating, I got like super obsessed with it, like watched, read everything there was like to learn about it. And one of the first things I did was I read a book called The Mutt by a very famous skater named Rodney Mullen. Rodney Mullen invented the ollie. Alan Gelfand invented the flat ground ollie, but I think I'm getting one of them invented the flat ground ollie. I don't want to be wrong on a podcast. One of them invented the flat ground ollie. The other one did it on transition. I think Rodney Mullen invented the flat ground ollie.
We've been wrong before about things. It's okay.
Yeah, but I don't want my friends giving me shit if they listen to this. Anyway.
Hey, don't give her shit.
We would be honored if your friends are listening to this and spread the word. So.
Yeah. They better.
Suck it up. We want listeners.
So we can just cut out all of the things that I said until Rodney Mullen, famous guy. He was very famous for his freestyle skating. Freestyle was like pre-straight skating. So I don't know. It's that
was like late 70s.
Yeah, it's some weird shit. There's like a lot of hopping on your board and like whatever. Anyway, he was a pioneer and he wrote a book and he talks about this boom and bust cycle of skateboarding basically since it started, where like it gets really popular, everybody gets really into it, and then like 10 years later it becomes like counterculture. Don't, you kids get off my lawn. A bunch of sexy alcoholic losers who I don't want in my neighborhood, like that kind of thing. God. So I actually think that we're in a resurgence now, especially with the onset of the Olympics. And I would assume that like probably in 5 years' time, it'll get less popular again.
You'll still be there.
But if I'm still alive and my knees haven't fallen off and detached from the rest of my body, we'll see.
Hey, there's skater amputees. I've seen YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Have you seen the YouTube videos where it's like, we call this the hospital trick. Yeah. And then they're like, why is it a hospital trick? And the kid just like wipes himself.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Not going to lie. I love seeing dogs on skateboards.
I know, the best. There are dogs who are better at skateboarding than me, and I'm okay with that. Especially like what are they? The cute little ones with like the small face, not pugs.
English bulldogs.
Bulldogs. They're so good at skateboarding, and I think it's just like they have a low center of gravity.
Yep.
Bastards.
Yep. That's it.
Just those bastards.
Yeah, is there like a body type that is more conducive to skateboarding?
Yeah, you'll see a lot of short men on skateboards.
Yeah, sexy alcoholic losers.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Whoa. Short men on skateboards. I'm a short descendant French Canadian, like short male of French Canadian descent. My fucking skateboard still suck.
Well, not all short people are good at skateboarding, but I would say like there's a strange plurality of short people on skateboards. And let me tell you, I am one of the outliers. I'm now attracted to short men since I started skateboarding because they tend to be better at skateboarding. That, having said that, it's like they're either short and like not squat, but like short and like built, or they're like very tall and lanky. I have like a couple of friends who are very tall and lanky and they're just as good, but like, you know, you don't really see a lot of like average guys out there.
No, because we learn fast. We cannot stand on that board for long.
Yeah,
like
what?
No, I was just gonna say like 90s, early 2000s, like skateboarding was it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were like a skate punk. And you had like the jocks and like the weirdos and nerds. Mm-hmm. Like that was a thing. And now it's kind of like, I see a lot of people wearing fucking Thrasher sweatshirts and I'm like, don't. If you ain't repping for real, don't.
Oh, don't get me started. I went to Disney World in like 2018. Yeah, 2018. And I literally like snapped on Instagram, like every single person wearing a Thrasher hoodie. And just yelled at them, "Don't wear Thrasher if you don't skate," and just walked away. I'm like anonymously. Yeah. But whatever. I mean, it's popular right now. I don't know. Skateboarding's not a fashion, but there's a lot of things that have been, you know, co-opted and appropriated as fashion when they're not supposed to be. So skateboarding is just the newest, most popular one.
Yeah, like Carhartt jackets. My job is not your fashion sense.
Yeah, it's true.
So, oh man, I lost it. I had a question, but I forgot what it was. Getting old sucks.
You're younger than me. I don't even want to hear it.
We
Nate's 2 days older than
next year.
Both
you
of us.
You turn 30 next year?
Both of us. 2 days apart.
Oh, that's adorable. I'll be 32 in 2 weeks. Oh, sorry, 31. Wow, I don't even know how old I am.
It's all downhill after 30.
That's how it starts. That's how they get you.
I have to think about what year I was born in. I'm only 30 still.
And subtract 2022 from whatever year you're born in.
Once it's like once you hit like the 1 or 2 months before you turn the next age, you just assume you're that age. So like in my head, I've been 30. I'm already 31. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be 32 next week. No, 31.
Also, after you turn 25, all of the like birthday presents just kind of like stop coming, and then there's no like temporal, you know, check mark for when you turn a new year. So
that's not true. My mom has been buying me skate shoes for the past 4 years for my birthday every year.
I have 5 pairs of Vans high tops that are all different colors.
Rock on. Oh,
do you even skate?
No,
they're the only shoes that fit my wide ass feet.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
He's got some pretty wide ass leprechaun feet. He's got some pretty wide ass leprechaun feet. I buy Vans when I get my heart broken. So that's just my thing. I go buy black Vans. Heartbroken, black Vans.
That's actually a pretty healthy way to cope. So
I need some Vans, guys.
It's like the least self-destructive thing I've ever heard. Good for you.
I really hope like AFI is playing when I'm there. Like something off All Hallows EP, which that's my Halloween tradition. First of all. Some SoCal.
I think they're playing at the 930 Club in January.
Oh, 930 Club, you're taking me back.
Yeah. I missed the opportunity to see Architects at the 930 Club.
Who?
It was Architects and While She Sleeps from UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on a Tuesday, and I'm not about to drive to DC for a heavy concert on a weekday.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not.
He's almost 30. That's how the life is.
Dude.
What it's like.
Well, I've been like that for a long time.
we drove down. We were younger, but I drove down, state of emergency, got to Harrisonburg, plowed our way to Richmond, got to Richmond, drove back in the same night, and I went to work that day.
Yeah, I don't have that in me. I don't have that in me.
Not anymore. We did at one point. We did.
I've just never enjoyed like going out late when I have had stuff to do the next day. Like it's just not. I don't know. It's like, what do they call it? It's like whenever I come back from vacation, I usually like come back a day early to have a day to just kind of like.
Oh yeah.
Mellow out.
No, that's understandable. I get that.
That's why I'm so glad you guys could do this an hour earlier because
I know. I was about to say we literally rescheduled this to an hour earlier so that we could all go to bed earlier. No, because over like this whole summer, everyone knew like if you want to contact me, it has to be like 9 o'clock or later because I would stay out of the park until like at least 9. But now that it's cold as fuck here in Ithaca, once it gets dark, it's like unmanageable to be outside. So I've been leaving at like 6:37, 7:30. So this worked out.
What's your...
Nate, go ahead. Mine's going to be a stupid comment. Go ahead.
Stupid comments always.
No, I was going to be like, why hasn't Under Armour or Nike got into like finding a way because they're like technology, like clothing technology, their cold gear is great. Mm-hmm. Why haven't they figured out a way to make clothing for skateboarders who want to be out in the cold or,
just wear ski goggles?
It's because skateboarders are poor. So we're not about to spend money on like expensive clothing, like technical clothing. I mean, obviously that's a blanket statement, but generally true. But no, I think, we just deal with like whatever Under Armour has for like normies.
Hey, Nate, I got an outlet. We got the outlet here in Potomac Mills. So whatever you need.
All right.
Makes my $100 question kind of like moot.
Why? What was it?
So one of the questions I like to ask people is, what purchase $100 or less has made the biggest impact on your life in the past year?
Oh, in the past year. Interesting. Oh my God.
Yeah. And if skateboarders are all poor, that's like everything.
Yeah, literally. Well, okay. Well, I'm not actually poor. I'm an outlier. I'm not rich either, but I have a career. I have a career job. So I actually, when I was living in DC, I was working for a congressman when I started skating, which was not fun with all the casts. But one of my good friends out in DC is a lobbyist, and he skates, and we sort of bonded over that because we were sort of these like weird suit professionals who got hurt on a daily basis. Shout out Bob Pribble.
Shout out to Fight Club. You come in with a black eye, and your boss is like, "Do you have a Fight Club?"
We had to have so many conversations. I literally thought he was going to give me an ultimatum and be like, "Listen," because I was meeting with lobbyists like daily with like an enormous cast. And the funniest thing was, they would ask me, I'd say, "Oh, like I got into like a skiing accident or like a bike accident." And they were like, "Oh, that's so sad. Like, so sorry to hear that crazy shit." Whatever. If I had said like skateboarding, they would have been like, "Why are you like a cretin? Like, why are you a street urchin? Please leave this congressional off. Please leave the hallowed grounds of the United States Capitol, you piece of shit."
All I want to do is grind on the Oval Office desk.
I did actually skate in the U.S. Capitol, which was pretty cool.
Oh my! Badass.
Nothing great. Nothing worth filming, but it was worth it.
I'm making a reel out of that, so I've been like trying to keep track of little snippets to make reels out of. That's one of them.
Badass.
Can you imagine if skaters took over the Capitol last year? What would have happened?
Oh, America!
Well, there would have been a lot of like bashing with skateboards. I mean, we should have been there defending it.
Yeah, America Wasteland that shit. Because in that game, you could pick up your skateboard and whack people with it.
I mean, there's been situations where people have used their skateboards as like defense systems for sure.
Okay, if there's one game,
why do you think I carry around this massive water bottle? It's also a self-defense weapon.
Love it.
Because he doesn't have liberty and justice to protect him.
I have another wrestling reference, Phil.
No, I've named my fist Liberty and Justice.
You should get that tattooed.
I should.
It wouldn't fit.
It wouldn't. L Burr.
Yeah, or just like LBRT. And people will be like, "What's Lil Burr?" And you're like, "Don't worry about it." You don't want to know what Lil Burr is.
I don't know.
I saw a license plate that said "Ew, David" on it.
What?
From Schitt's Creek.
Oh.
No. So, speaking of Schitt's Creek and TV shows, have there been? How do you feel like the media and pop culture portrays skateboarders from the outside? And are there any examples where you feel like it's been done well or done poorly? This is strictly like fictional media, not like news media.
Right. Man, I'm the worst person to ask about this because I just am not good with visual media. Like, I don't really like, I like don't ever get movie references because I've seen probably like 4 movies my whole life. Not really, but apparently I just like have not seen most movies that people reference. I'm trying to think of like, I've never seen mid-90s. I've never seen Kids. I've never seen like all the class. I mean, I saw like, you know, Lords of Dogtown years ago. So it's like, I'm the worst. The only thing I can say is like this is not fictional, but there's this show that I think it was run by Thrasher called King of the Road. And it was basically a skateboarding scavenger hunt. It was dope. Like, it was really dope. It was like a bunch of teams, like company teams would compete. They'd have to like do tricks in this special, you know, skate park or area. And then like some of them would have to like do like ridiculous things like butt chug a beer, you know, like all the classic skateboarding things.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that went on for like multiple years. And then Vice picked it up actually. And skaters will like, a lot of skaters will tell you like, oh yeah, it was ruined after Vice. Like they like professionalized it, whatever. I actually think it was great. I think they did a great job with it. And I think like it made skateboard, like that was one of the first things I saw. And I was like, skateboarding looks like fun. I think I want to do this. So that's really like all I can reference. I'm like, if anything comes to me, I will think of it. But there's definitely also a whole movie about a skateboarding chimpanzee. And just literally the cover, the cover of the DVD, the angle of the skateboard makes no sense based on like where the chimpanzee is in space. So that right there should tell you like popular media probably doesn't portray skateboarding right.
See, Phil, this is why we need to be able to record all 3 screens. So I could have had that. So the way that it's recorded now, Zoom automatically cuts to whoever's talking, and that's the way that the recorded export is done. So like I don't have to cut it, which is really nice.
Right.
But I also don't get to cut to like funny reactions that aren't when somebody's talking.
I'm so bummed about that. Oh, it's called Most Vertical Primate, MPV, from 2001.
I remember that.
No, I just looked it up. I looked. Oh, you remember it.
I remember that.
Amazing. So you can see here that The chimpanzee and the board is like angled at such an angle that makes like absolutely no physical sense.
Yep.
So, you're welcome for that.
Well, hey, Nate, maybe if you went into gallery mode and then recorded your screen, maybe that would work.
I'm in gallery mode. Maybe next time I can record my screen.
Using QuickTime Player. The more you know.
I gotta watch most vertical properties.
God, I need to go. I need to relive my childhood. Oh man,
it's from 2001. You weren't even a child. I guess you were. Yeah.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, 92. So that was.
You were 9.
I was. Thank you. See, he can do math. I can't do math. That's why that's why I study music. I only have to count to 4 and repeat. So. Yep.
Unless on the off chance you need to count to 8.
That
or 6, and sometimes 3 divided by 4. Fractions are hard. Sorry.
I mean, 15, 7. Sure, why not? We'll do some really weird things, polyrhythms.
So, when I used to work construction, we always used to fight over the radio. Is there music playing at skate parks, and who controls it, and what's usually on?
Totally dependent on the community. So in Ithaca, so I never used to skate with headphones. That's mostly like a street skater thing. But when I moved to Ithaca, everyone skates with headphones, and I got like super used to it. So everyone kind of listens to their own music here, like at the skate park generally, but like occasionally for like a session where like everyone shows up at the same time and like, they skate together. Someone usually brings like the big speaker. And they're generally in control. And then like for like backyard sessions where people have bowls or ramps in their backyard, they'll bring out their own speaker. But you gotta like what they play. Shout out to Jeffrey Swain, who always had the same playlist for every session that he would call in his backyard bowl, best backyard bowl in the world. And I like knew every single song on that playlist by the end of like a year of skating there.
Word. So, when did hip hop like transition into becoming part of skate culture?
I don't know. Before my time, but like, it's such a thing. I don't know. But it's cool also because like everyone has their own musical taste. I mean, a lot of people do like hip hop, but like everyone has their own musical taste. Like I don't put my skate videos to music all the time, but when I do, it's like a very random shit. It's like whatever seems to like go with the vibe and like what goes with the vibe of the video, but also what's really important in editing skate videos is that like beats time out with tricks. So like it's really important. Like and my best friend who I mentioned from high school is a filmer and an editor, and he like takes so much pride in like that like millisecond where like the downbeat's going and the person lands the trick. Like that is not, even like not knowing anything about like filming, editing, or music or whatever. Like it's extremely satisfying. So I guess hip hop kind of like has like a lot of like strong beats and stuff. So that I guess that's part of it, probably.
2 and 4, the 2 and 4.
But also like it's aggressive, right? Like I don't know anyone who like skates listening to classical music or like skates listening to like laid back music. Like generally, I like the music I listen to. I mean, it's a weird array, but like I tend to listen to things that like make me feel aggressive and like cheerful and like upbeat and like want to move around.
Get that Jack Johnson shit out of here.
Yeah, get the fucking Jack Johnson out of here.
I forgot what I was going to ask.
Top 5 or the top 3 skate punk bands all time. What are your favorite?
I told you I'm terrible with media. Fuck. Grindline the band, which is not to be confused with Grindline the skate park builders, which should also not be confused with Grindline the burrito.
There's a burrito.
CKY. Gotta go with CKY. If you're not skating to 96 Quite Bitter Beings, are you even skating?
That's a no.
Yeah, it's a big no. Man, Misfits are always good to skate to, too. That's what I'll go with.
Hell yeah. Gotta love that. 160 beats per minute.
This is the real question. The biggest question that we always ask anybody from Philadelphia. It's Pat's or Gino's.
I knew where you're going with that. I've been vegan for 9.5 years. And I have never, and then before that, I grew up keeping kosher. So I've never had a cheesesteak in my life. Sorry to disappoint.
Hey, you can make vegan cheesesteaks. They're pretty good. I've had a lot of vegan cheesesteaks. So Govinda's is my answer, which is, I don't know if they're still there in Philly. They used to be on Broad and South, I feel like, or somewhere near there, but I don't know if they're still there. They have a good cheesesteak, vegan cheesesteak.
Well, that's my cue to go eat dinner.
There you go.
Nate's gonna. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Alana, where can people find you and find out about your skating, find out about your life?
Well, I'm a one trick pony. I pretty much only use Instagram. So you can find me at
efficiency. We like it.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't have like the energy to like maintain multiple things. I don't have the energy for Instagram.
Doing the social for the podcast is my job, and half the time I'm like, I'm the worst person for this job. I'm an introvert that you're asking to interact with people. Yeah,
totally get that. I mean, even just like editing my own videos, I'm like, it's fine like this. It's fine. I don't need to cut it. Whatever.
And then it underperforms, and you're wondering why.
Right? Yeah, I know. I'm like, why don't the people like this hastily put together trash edit? I don't understand. Anyway, my handle is at Punxsutawneykill, but I will chill that out. I will slow that down for you. PUNXAFANY. Nope, already fucked it up. At PUNX.
We'll flash it up on the screen in big Las Vegas lights.
There we go. WNY_kill. There you go. Got it all.
Any particular reason for the tongue twister of username?
Yeah, well, Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog from Groundhog Day, not like the movie, like actual Groundhog Day in February. So, that grew out. Like my partner at the time would call me Punxsutawney because, like a little deer, but then like a little punky, and then I was like, I don't know. It just came to me. Punxsutawney Kill. It's like Punxsutawney Phil, but funnier. Very difficult to pronounce for people and very difficult to tell people when they're searching for my Instagram handle, but it's too late at this point.
I was going to say, have you ever tried like slimming it down a little bit?
No, don't do it.
I got nothing.
That's too fucking original. Rock the shit out of it.
Thank you.
All right. And
Alana, we appreciate you. Phil, we're not going to leave without thanking our guest.
I know, but I was
nice.
I know. I was just going to let everybody know where to find us.
Cool. I guess I'll allow it.
You just shut me down and then you shut down. This isn't how you end an episode. We're going to go right down the middle here. Right down the middle.
Amateur hour.
It is. Fuck. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Thank you for Alana for being on. You can find us at Frameless Podcast, and you can find me at Philippe's French and Nate at Inkwell Apparel, or hopefully Inkwell Design will be back up soon. I hope. Maybe
Inkwell Designs plural.
Designs plural. Thank you.
Yep, I changed the username for apparel to designs. I'm going to start posting more art there. So,
Bringo, as Steve Brule would say. Oh, I didn't even talk about skateboard.
Skateboarding. Oh, skateboarding.
I didn't even talk about Steve Brule yet. Oh God, I gotta get to bed.
Steve Brule enters my brain every morning when I wake up and think about skateboarding. So I gotta.
Steve Brule is my spirit animal.
I got to meet him once. Oh, sorry, nice. I'll keep this short because you have to eat dinner and I have to pee. Yes, he was Tim and Eric like toured the country, and I used to work at a bar for this theater. And I like finished my like bartending duties and went down to sit, and they were like, "Can we get like?" It was Steve Roll was up, and he was like, "Can I get a volunteer from the audience?" And I like freaked out, and, like just ran up there, and I like looked at him like straight in the face, and he had like when he was like looking at me, his eyes were like going in different directions, and like that amazing. That man, John C. Reilly, amazing, my hero.
Best friends forever now. All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for listening. Go make a bunk bed. Nate, sign us out, baby. He froze.
Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Stay hungry. Stay safe. Stay creative.
Go have fun. Shred the Gnar.
Shred it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alana.
Take care.
Bye.